Gohan finally awakens the transformation of the most powerful being in the entire universe that was cited in the Oracle Fish prophecy, and all this because of Goku? Exactly, but calm down because I will show and explain everything to you as the new Dragon Ball Super saga is focusing even more on Gohan. So without further delay, let's go. Gohan has always been a character marked by his hidden potential, but mainly by the way this power only manifested itself in situations of extreme pressure. Unlike Goku and Vegeta, who were motivated by the desire to constantly surpass limits, Gohan needed an emotional trigger, something that truly put him against the wall. This characteristic was clear several times in Dragon Ball, and perhaps the most classic example is in the hyperbolic time chamber during the preparation for the Cell tournament. When Goku took Gohan to train in that environment where time passed differently, the objective was not only to increase the boy's strength, but also to make him awaken a power that Goku already suspected existed within him. Throughout the training, Gohan showed enormous evolution, but what caught the most attention was a specific moment when, under pressure, he briefly managed to access Super Saiyan 2, albeit incompletely. Goku immediately realized that this glimpse was not just the result of training, but of the stress and pressure that Gohan's body and mind were enduring. He understood that, unlike himself, Gohan would only reach the true climax of power in desperate circumstances, where there was no other choice but to unleash all his strength. This perception was fundamental to the strategy that Goku put together against Cell. It is interesting to note that, until then, Gohan had no genuine desire to fight. He trained because his father insisted, but he always showed a preference for a peaceful life. However, when placed in situations where his loved ones were in danger, the psychological pressure caused the dormant power to explode. This became almost like a secret weapon of the Z fighters. Goku himself, on more than one occasion, commented that Gohan possessed a superior potential to his own. However, he also knew that this potential was directly linked to the need to protect someone or face an enemy that truly put everything at risk. The hyperbolic time chamber episode was only a foreshadowing of what we would see later on the battlefield against Cell. During the final fight against the villain, Gohan resisted for a long time without revealing all his power. But when Android 16 was destroyed and Cell threatened his friends, the pressure became unbearable. It was at that moment that the Super Saiyan 2 transformation finally happened in its fullness, exactly as Goku had predicted inside the hyperbolic time chamber. This characteristic of Gohan is a reflection of his hybrid nature. He inherited the combative spirit and the ability to transform as a Saiyan, but he also inherited the human sensitivity, which makes him fight not out of pride, but out of necessity. It is precisely when the weight of responsibility falls upon him that his true power emerges. Going back to training, the glimpse of Super Saiyan 2 still inside the hyperbolic time chamber was a kind of glimpse of the future. Goku not only realized what could happen, but also began to trust that at the right moment, Gohan would be the only one capable of defeating Cell. This detail is what explains Goku's confidence in leaving the fight in his son's hands. Pressure has always molded Gohan's greatest feats. In the tournament against Dabura, for example, he failed to reach the same level of strength precisely because he was not in a state of desperation. On the other hand, against Cell and later against Majin Buu, the weight of the situation forced him to release more and more of his dormant energy. We can interpret Goku's posture in the hyperbolic time chamber as a true lesson. He did not just want to increase his son's power levels, but to put him in situations of controlled stress, where Gohan could feel the pressure and, little by little, get used to unleashing his strength. It was not only physical preparation, but also psychological. This pattern would repeat itself later, in sagas like the Tournament of Power and especially in the movie Dragon Ball Super Superhero, where Gohan, under pressure and extreme risk, managed to awaken his beast form. It is almost as if the hyperbolic time chamber had been the first great rehearsal for this intrinsic characteristic of his evolution. The most fascinating detail is that, unlike Goku, Gohan does not need years and years of obsessive training to break limits. The right pressure, the right circumstance is enough, and he surpasses barriers that others would take decades to achieve. This peculiarity makes him one of the most unpredictable and, at the same time, most powerful characters in the franchise. Therefore, the memory of that moment in the hyperbolic time chamber should not be seen merely as a detail of the training, but as the initial milestone of Goku's understanding of the unique nature of his son's power. Gohan is not a warrior who strengthens himself through the desire to fight, but through the need to protect, and it is under pressure that he always reaches the greatest peaks of his strength. Exactly. It is at this point that Gohan's story reconnects with the present of Dragon Ball Super. Just as in the hyperbolic time chamber, when Goku realized that pressure was the true fuel for his son's power, now, facing the threat of Black Frieza, this same logic may repeat itself. Gohan himself made it clear that, upon awakening the beast form, he was still far from showing all his potential. This means that the power we saw in the confrontation against Cell Max may have been just the surface of something even greater. Goku, as always a keen observer of Gohan's abilities, may end up encouraging or even forcing this awakening at a critical moment. He understands that his son will not seek evolution alone through incessant training, as Vegeta does, but that the pressure of a real fight is what pushes him to the next level. And what enemy would be more perfect for this than Black Frieza, who has already surpassed even the level of Ultra Instinct and Vegeta's Ultra Ego form? The fact that Gohan stated that he did not show everything in his beast form opens space for various interpretations. It may be that he still does not have total control of this transformation, or that he needs a truly overwhelming enemy to extract the maximum from it. This in itself is extremely interesting because it creates an expectation that Gohan still holds a card up his sleeve that no one, not even Goku, has been able to fully measure. The pressure of facing Black Frieza would be precisely the necessary trigger. If in the Cell Saga it was the death of Android 16 and the danger to his friends, now it would be the presence of an enemy who represents not only an immediate threat, but also the greatest terror of the Saiyans' past. Frieza is the personification of the cruelty that haunts this race, and facing him again, especially in his black form, can ignite an unimaginable power in Gohan. Goku has previously demonstrated confidence in leaving crucial fights in Gohan's hands. He did this against Cell, and it would not be absurd to imagine him doing something similar again, even knowing the danger that Black Frieza represents. Perhaps Goku realizes that he and Vegeta, even with their evolutions, are not enough to take down Frieza alone, and that only Gohan, with his unlimited potential, is able to balance the battle. Furthermore, there is a fundamental psychological point. Gohan is not driven by rivalry, but by the need to protect. When he encounters Frieza again, knowing everything that this villain has already caused, and realizing that even Goku and Vegeta are at risk, it will be impossible not to see this pressure transform into strength. Just like in the hyperbolic time chamber, Gohan may feel the need to unleash something beyond what he himself imagines possible. This idea of Goku recreating the pressure scenario can also be literal. He may in some way put Gohan in an extreme situation, perhaps even deliberately trusting to leave his son alone against Frieza for a few moments. This might seem too risky, but Goku has shown before that he believes in Gohan's potential when everyone else doubts it. He is the one who best understands how this potential works. If Gohan was far from showing everything with the beast form, then what we will see against Black Frieza may be something much greater than the fight against Cell Max suggested. The concept of maximum pressure will be present like never before, as it is an enemy who threatens not only Earth but the entire universe, and who carries a history of massacres that deeply touch the Saiyan lineage. This clash also has a gigantic narrative weight. Frieza was responsible for the destruction of the Saiyans' home planet, and now, the one who may definitively defeat him is neither Goku nor Vegeta, but Gohan, the hybrid who carries both the Saiyans' blood and human compassion. It is almost poetic that the answer to the race's greatest terror does not come from those who dedicated themselves most to training, but from the one who always awakens his power in moments of desperation. Goku knows this. He may not admit it directly, but he has always demonstrated this perception. When Gohan briefly accessed Super Saiyan 2 in the hyperbolic time chamber, Goku already understood that his son had a different path. Now, seeing Gohan mention that he still has much to show with the beast form, he certainly connected the dots. Once again, Gohan needs to be placed under maximum pressure to show the true extent of his strength. This repetition of patterns is what makes the story so interesting. The cycle is renewed. Goku perceives, Gohan hesitates, the pressure grows, and then the transformation happens. But now we are not talking about just a new level like Super Saiyan 2, but about something that can rival or even surpass mastered Ultra Instinct. It is the climax of hidden potential being exposed against the most feared enemy. If this moment truly happens against Black Frieza, it will be the definitive validation of everything that has been built since the Cell Saga. The hyperbolic time chamber will have been only the first chapter, and now Gohan will write the final version of this story, that of a warrior who always explodes in power when the weight of responsibility suffocates him. This time, with Goku observing again, but knowing that now it is the son who carries the hope of everyone. And the most intriguing detail, Gohan himself said that he still did not show everything. This phrase, in the face of the approaching threat, sounds almost like a promise that before Black Frieza, we will see a power that will leave even Goku and Vegeta surprised, exactly as happened in that glimpse in the hyperbolic time chamber. If we think about it, Gohan's own statement that he still did not show all the power of the beast form may be a precursor that this transformation is not the limit. Just as Super Saiyan 2 was only the beginning for new evolutions, Beast may be the doorway to something even greater, perhaps a perfect fusion between his Saiyan and human heritage. Against Black Frieza, this something more may finally emerge, precisely because there will be no room for hesitation. The pressure, in this case, will be so extreme that even Goku and Vegeta may recognize that they no longer have anything beyond what they have already achieved. It is at this moment that Gohan, forced to surpass the limits of Beast, may reach an unprecedented form, perhaps a refined and stable version, or even a natural mutation that is born only in the heat of battle. If this happens, it will be the definitive proof that Gohan's path has always been different, and that his power only appears when it is truly necessary. In addition to the impact on the fight, there is also the symbolic issue. Frieza represents the trauma of the Saiyans' past, but Gohan does not carry that weight in the same way. He does not seek revenge, but protection. This difference may be precisely what makes him capable of surpassing Frieza at levels that Goku and Vegeta would never reach, because the fuel for his strength is not pride, but responsibility. In the end, if Goku repeats with Gohan what he did in the hyperbolic time chamber, once again trusting in his son's hidden potential, we may witness the greatest awakening in the franchise to date. The fight against Black Frieza has all the ingredients for this: a supreme enemy, unbearable pressure, and the certainty that Gohan has not yet revealed everything. And it is precisely in this unshown that the key to turning the tide of the battle lies. In this way, the battle against Black Frieza can become not just a clash of forces, but the true stage where Gohan finally assumes the role he was always destined to have. Just as Goku trusted him in the Cell Saga, he can now once again place that hope in his son, believing that only the extreme pressure of facing the universe's most deadly enemy will make the beast form reveal its peak. And when that moment arrives, it will not only be a victory against Frieza, but the definitive confirmation that Gohan is the warrior who breaks limits when all seems lost. The glimpse in the hyperbolic time chamber was the beginning of this journey, and the fight against Black Frieza may be the climax. The instant when Gohan proves before everyone that his power not only rivals but can surpass any other on the battlefield. But comment on what you thought of all this, and don't forget to like. Thank you very much for everyone's support, and until next time.